Okay, let's go through a quick troubleshooting guide summary here. You have your fridge. If it's warm, open the door. Is light on or off? If it's on, then check temperature settings. Sometimes kids and, unruly people mess up that setting. Is it good? Yeah, but still not cool? Go through that cleaning process in the video for the exterior. Just run back up now. If you open the door, if the light was actually off, then we're gonna have to come on back up here. So check the outlet for power. Get another light or some sort of device, plug it into the outlet, see if it's working. Now, if it's working, let's go over here. See the cleaning guide video. Probably some exterior cleaning that needs to be done. And possibly too, if the light does not go on, even though there's power at the outlet, the light bulb might be burnt out. So maybe replace that. And let's go back up. So we check the outlet for power and say there's no power. As I showed in the video, go on down, check the circuit breaker. Find the one that's for the fridge, and if it's off, turn it back on. If it snaps off right away, there's some sort of electrical problem. So, you can give it a try, but if it snaps off again, then there's some other issue going on, which is beyond the scope of this video. Get some professional help, probably. But, we're just at the end. If it's off, like I said, reset. And hopefully that's going to work. And the only final piece of advice on here, unplug your fridge for about 15-20 minutes, plug it back in, and sometimes that even corrects the problem. So there you have it. Hopefully this helped you out. It's not a big detailed thing, so just give these steps a try and you'll be surprised. Sometimes it'll be the solution. Okay, have a great day, everyone. And if you want more videos, please subscribe or like the video. That helps me out too. Thank you. All right, let's go through some steps to see if your refrigerator is working properly. This is an LG fridge. Any modern fridge is the same. Controls might be different inside, but say it's not cooling and you're wondering why. What could possibly be the problem? Few easy, simple steps. Open the door. Now most refrigerators have a light in them. Did the light go on? Yes, that's a good sign. That means there's power to the fridge. On this fridge, there's an electronic control for the temperature. Make sure you set and adjust that properly to whatever temperature is recommended or whatever you need. Now, if those things are all looking good, fine and dandy. Probably not having any issues. But if the light does not come on and you don't see any temperature reading or anything, then the next step, coming right up. And the next step, you might be wondering, why am I looking at a lamp? Well, what you do, go to the plug-in wherever your refrigerator is plugged in. Get a lamp or some sort of item, hair dryer, whatever you have handy. Plug something into the outlet. See if the outlet's working. If the light goes on, great. That means that there's power to the plug-in. And that's a good sign that there's some sort of, if you have power to the plug-in and your fridge is plugged in, but nothing's happening in the fridge, probably some sort of serious problem is going on inside your fridge, which probably is beyond the scope of this video. However, if there is no power, then let's go to the next step. Here we are downstairs. This is called a circuit breaker box. And well, mine, the numbers on mine are right along here. It's hard to read. It has a description of what each little switch is for. They're all numbered. But anyways, you're gonna find one that says your fridge or whatever, and take a look for that one and see if the circuit breaker is flipped off or on. If it's off, obviously there'd be no power up at your outlet, so simply turn it back on. Something might have caused it to turn off. What you'll see when they're off, here's one that's completely off. But if it has tripped a breaker, just find the one, and it might not be all the way flipped over. It'll just be a little bit out of alignment. So you want to snap that back and forth, push it back on, just like how this one would be. You put it back on like that. That's off. Then you make sure it's back on. But anyways, check that and then run upstairs and make sure there's power to the outlet. Oh, PS. So for example, say this was my fridge one and it had been tripped off, and you turn it back on, like it'll click back on, just like a switch, turn it back on. If it immediately flips off again, and say your fridge is plugged in or something, or even if it's not, but if it pops off right away, then that's another issue, which is just more in depth than what I can get into here. There's some sort of an electrical issue there. So at that point, I would probably, maybe I might try it again, try to plug the fridge in again. But if it trips off again, there's some sort of issue going on, probably with the fridge, probably with the motor. And that's where you're either gonna have to call someone in for some advice, or or maybe the fridge motor is something shorted out in it. But those are the things to check for. Let's go back upstairs here. Okay, so we just went through all those checks, and pretty much in the end, if you open your fridge and yes, the light is coming on, or those other things that I told you to check have resolved your issue, then there's one other thing that's very overlooked, and I'm going to show you what it is. All right, a lot of overlooked things with fridge maintenance. Something you should do at least once a year, I'd recommend. I'm just going to give you a small example here. I'm just going to open up my freezer drawer. One thing you want to do, cleaning the inside of your fridge is all great, but there's other things that are really important. The seals around your fridge. Now, I'm sure you can see there's stuff that's accumulating in there, like particles, food, and whatnot. What you need to do, it's really important to clean this stuff out of here, because if it keeps accumulating in there and you get bigger pieces, it could potentially cause some issues with your seals. It will damage them, and plus they might not seal properly. So, for sure, at least once a year, go in, clean out all this garbage. I know you can see some of that in there, but you have to go in, get that all cleaned out, okay? Okay, and second step, I've pulled my fridge out of its location here. And it's really important. This is about a year the last time since I've done this, but just look at all this garbage under here. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of pasta there. It looks like a cheesy. My marker, you see my marker there? I've been looking for that thing for like half a year. Okay, and the next important thing, get those seals cleaned out, and then we want to get to the back of the fridge. I have it pulled out here, as I said, and this is the intake where the air comes in, and look how that gets disgusting. Once a year you should get your vacuum out and clean that up. This side's not too bad. That's probably where the motor is and where the fan is. So let's go ahead and vacuum that out to start with. Okay, that was a good start. Let's get a little more thorough now. You don't have to do this probably every year, but I'm just going to show you. If you want to go all out, take off this lower panel. Let's pop this out real quick here. Oh, by the way, you should unplug your fridge when you're moving your fridge or working on the fridge. The reason the reason I say that, often fridges these days, the type of motors, if you move the fridge while it's running, it's not good for the motor. So there we go. As you can see in there, a lot of dirt. Those are the coils, cooling stuff. So you want to try to get in there as best you can and vacuum out that grime that's on there. Let's do that. Okay, we got that all cleared out as best we could. And what I'll suggest, and I'm not going to do it this time, but if you have access to like an air compressor, if it is looking really bad in there, you need to get an air compressor, and preferably in the summer when you can have the windows open, door open nearby, and blow a fan out there because it'll be dusty. Blow that all out with an air compressor. That would be very helpful. And also the next thing that I'm going to do, which is fairly accessible, I'm just going to do it with my hand. This is the fan here, cooling fan, and you want to clean off the edges in there. It accumulates a lot of garbage on there. So I'll go ahead and I'll just wipe that off by hand. It's a little bit delicate, so be careful. And we'll be right back. Okay, and that's all there really is to it. Again, if it is really dusted up in there, you might, if you can't do it yourself, you might need to call someone to come and blow that out with an air compressor. If you know someone who has one, get them to come over and blow that stuff out in there. It looks like this one almost needs that done, but it should be good for, I'll probably do it in the summer, as I said, when I can have all the windows open and have some good air circulation. So at this point, I mean, you got a good start on it. It's gonna help. And now it's just a matter of getting this back plate back on. Okay, and that's all there is to it at this point. You know, as I said, it should be unplugged when you're doing all this stuff. Slide it back into position, get it plugged back in, and you're good to go for another year. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck.